Hi, I'm Shaelynn and I'm participating in the Agriculture Education CDE. I'm from the Roy, Utah chapter, or the Royals, and I'm a junior. And so I chose the topic floriculture, strand 3, standard 3, and it's all about the tools you use in floriculture. And I decided to go a little more in depth in the demonstration on how to tape things. But first we're going to go over the tools and the other things we use in floriculture class in a high school setting. And so here's some wire cutters. They cut wire just like their name says. And wire is used to manipulate the flowers into whatever shapes, especially on delicate flowers with big heads. The stem's not support them enough, and so we replace it with a wire. Here's some pruners. They cut the flower because after the flower's been traveling for a while, the water supply gets dried up, and so they have to cut it to reopen it. And so some of the other supplies we use are vases. Here's a bud vase, and you usually put long skinny flowers in it so it's not overbearing in the top. Here is a bouquet vase. It's usually more of a full bouquet, like roses and things with extra foliage. This square vase is kind of the same thing. It's for bigger foliage and stuff. It's tall flowers, not little ones that are going to be stuck in here. Here's kind of a cute rustic jar that you can use. Anything really works as a vase. Some Oasis floral foam. It's really light when it's dry, but when it gets wet, it gets kind of heavy. And it's a great water supply in some arrangements. We use floral wire a lot, like I mentioned earlier. It's used to manipulate flowers into whatever shape, to use them as the stem itself, and that's why it's super important that you know how to tape them, especially if you plan a career in floriculture. Floral tape is a huge part of floriculture. You use it to practice taping things. You tape bouquets, corsages, sometimes boutonnieres, bouquets, especially for weddings and stuff. And so we also have some ribbon, and ribbon just adds the extra pop and sums it up in a lot of cases. And so ribbon's a nice extra decoration. You can put it directly on the arrangement, or you can use it to tie up a vase and just add that extra pop. We also have floral adhesive, and it's like a flower glue, so it glues on things to arrangements. Like you can add decorations like a ribbon to a wreath or to a bouquet, and you can use it to glue a ribbon on a vase. And we have some pine cones as an extra decoration type thing. You can put them on you see them a lot of the time on a pine wreath, and so it's always nice to have extra decorations. So to start, we're going to practice using the wire cutters and the wire, taping it. So to tape a wire, you're going to get floral tape. Like I said, it's super important. It comes in all colors. There's been pink, purple, blue. It's the nicest kind I find is green because it fits in with the flowers. But if you need that extra pop, you can get gold, pink, or whatever you need. So to activate it, you got to stretch it, but don't pull too hard or it's going to rip. And you're just going to pinch it around the top of the wire because it's really skinny. And then you're going to go down at about a 45-degree angle to wrap the wire. And you want to make it smooth, so and tight, so it doesn't come off. But you want to make it smooth so it fits in and it doesn't look like it's not the stem. And so it's okay if you don't get it perfect because it definitely takes time to learn how to do it. And so it just takes practice. And so you just keep taping it at an angle, and I find it easier if you roll the wire in your hand instead of moving the tape, because the tape sticks to itself, and that's the only thing it sticks to unless you're pulling it like I mentioned. So when you get close to the bottom, you just want to rip it and then grab the tape, and you move the tape this time because it doesn't have the rest of the roll. And you just want to secure it around the end of the wire and make sure it's covered up and make sure you're pulling it so it stays tight. Now a little test I like to do, especially when you're just taping a wire, I only use it on the wire, is I like to pull from the middle to see if I did it tight enough. And if I did it tight enough, it doesn't come off. So I did this one pretty tight because it didn't come off. And so floral oasis foam is really nice. So like I said, when it gets wet, you can stick flowers in it. When it's dry, it's kind of hard and you can't stick stuff in it. So we're gonna practice using the pruners, and we're gonna cut this flower off, and we're gonna stick it in. And the nice thing is you don't have to do it in any particular way. You can stick it in however you want and make it your own thing, and it's very personalized. So you stick it in, and I'll do another one just to show you. Just like that. And I've done a lot of fun arrangements with oasis foam. Like one time in our floriculture class, we did a pumpkin arrangement where we carved out the middle of a small pumpkin, and then we got it wet because you soak it for a while to make sure it gets wet all the way to the core and it's a good water source. And then we put it inside the pumpkin after we cut it with a wire, because you can use the floral wire to cut it because it's not very thick in a way so that you can cut it easily. And so we put it in the pumpkin, and you can stick it in however you want to and adjust it to make it your personal theme. And so the next thing I wanted to go over was to make a floral pen with a silk flower. So you're going to take the leaves off unless you want to keep them on. And you're going to grab a pen, and you can lose the cap because it's not going to fit over the tape. And so what you're going to do is line it up. And if you can see, it's about the same length as the pen. And we don't want to interrupt your writing, so we're going to take it and we're going to grab the wire cutters, because on a silk pen it's just plastic covering the wire, and so you're just going to cut it. And you want to keep it long enough that it will go down the side of the pen a little bit so it doesn't fall out of the tape if it comes undone. And so if you remember, you've got to stretch the tape to make it active. And so what we're going to do is we're going to stretch it and wrap it around the pen and the flower, and you're gonna make it so professional tapers, they don't have seams because they practice so much, and so you just wrap it around and around until you get to the bottom. And so you don't want to make any bumps in it because it makes it uncomfortable to write. And so when you get to the bottom, you just rip it, and then you wrap it around to secure it around the bottom to make sure it's on good. And now you have a flower pen. Now we can add it to our bouquet over here in this bouquet jar. And so another fun activity to do is to take lollipops and make a lollipop bouquet. It's just a fun little activity to practice taping, and it comes with a yummy reward. And so what you're gonna do is you're gonna grab about 5 or 6 lollipops, and you just need a long enough stick on them that you can just wrap them up with the tape, and you can manipulate them however you need to so it's comfortable for you to tape. So you're going to hold them in your non-dominant hand, in my case that's the left hand, and then in your right hand you're going to stretch the tape around it to make sure it's activated, and then you're going to wrap it around, taping it. And you want to make sure you don't pull too hard or it's going to rip the tape. And then you just wrap it around until you're sure it holds them in place. And then you can rip the tape. And you just wrap it around, securing the last piece of tape. And then it sticks, and now you got a yummy flower or a yummy bouquet. And so we're going to do a little extra on how to tie a ribbon around a vase. So you're just going to get a piece of ribbon, and we're going to cut it we're going to tie it first and then cut it. So we're going to use this bouquet jar because it has a nice neck here to wrap around it. So we're going to wrap it around, and it doesn't have to be perfect, it just has to be you, the way you want it. We're going to wrap it around and make a little ribbon. And then you're just going to tie it. And then when you're done tying it, you can cut it from the rest of the ribbon. And now you got a tied up bouquet. And so I hope you enjoyed this video today and enjoyed showing how to use the floral foam. It's Oasis because it's wet. So this is Oasis when it's dry, if you remember. And then there's all sorts of different type of vase, the square vase, the bouquet vase, and all the other supplies like the ribbon, the pine cones, and the adhesive, and the pruners and wire clippers. And I hope you enjoy your little lollipop bouquet. And thank you for watching my video. I hope you enjoyed it.